The following program is sponsored by The Greek, Ely's Radio Shack dealer at 570 Altman in downtown Ely, and brought to you as a public service by Georgetown Media in Ely, Nevada. White Pine County Regional Transportation Commission meeting, October 19th, 2021.
The one bid was $748, and I got $836 plus the pump, so figure 30. Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't open. I had to like work my way in there.
Have one, thank you.
I think I got one and delivered to my house.
Oh, you did.
It's 10 o'clock Thursday.
I just thought I was missing something. I got that.
No?
You got that other one.
I'm coming back here, don't you?
In the corner in the dark in the back?
Oh, not necessarily.
That's us, too. I have 3 8
I'll
o'clock
stay in
meetings this
town
week.
for-
And then I got 3 in one day next Wednesday. The regular meeting and then the open.
Oh, yeah, no, I talked to Tom yesterday.
So I'll probably throw it in the middle.
It's just a busy.
Right. I'll probably throw it in the middle that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So everyone just.
Yeah.
He's not even old to. When we get this show started, can we have public comment come up? They're gonna talk, that way this will pick it up. If they, yeah. Okay.
Are we on?
Not yet, no, sir.
Is this on?
This is, what is that, I don't know.
Okay, I guess we don't have it.
Ready?
All right, welcome everybody to the Regional Transportation Meeting of October 19th. Roll call. Here.
Richard Howe?
Yes.
Jim Wallace present.
Wayne Cameron present.
Martin Trout, County Pro.
PG Armory.
Wayne Craig present. Thank you. Morning, Steve. Morning. Mr. Alworth, if you'll lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Follow me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, public comment. If you're going to speak, we'd like you to come up front so the microphone will pick you up. And this time we'll open public comment. 3 minutes. 3 minutes, time limit.
Melody Van Camp, 1125 Murray Street, and I'm at the end of the project. I'm going to compare the Murray Street project with the Dust Bowl of the 1930s. Every day for months, we have been inundated with dust and dirt. It's been absolutely filthy. With little or no water in June, I called the first part of July for a water truck as we were experiencing the Texas dust storms, AKA Abu. Other than that, the street was never watered the whole month of July or August. I did talk to Casey and asked for a water truck near the end of August, but it never happened until the last 3 days of the month. And we finally saw a water truck 3 times a day. All this time, a water truck was parked on the side of the road by the Cunningham's house, leaking water. It was never moved, and I do come home several times a day, so I know what's going on up there. Little or no work was done both July and August. Large equipment stayed parked. The road remained a mess. The first half of September brought us only a notice, hand-delivered from Casey, that the project would be completed at the end of October, and we finally saw some work being done. If time is of the essence, God forbid if there's an emergency, a fire, a rescue, bring on the four-wheelers, side-by-sides, dirt bikes, ladders, and rappelling equipment. One positive thing that came out of this project is the crime rate on Murray Street had to drop to 0 due to the added gear a thief would have to bring to scale the black holes, the crevasses, potholes, mud, water, and poor lighting. The question I have is, Q&D did several miles of the Altman and Great Basin streets, which included underground, curb, gutter, sidewalk, paving, and lighting in approximately 8 months. And the Murray Street project is a whopping 3.5 blocks. And JCR has given us only a BMX track and a great big mess. As a business owner, I would be embarrassed to put out a product like this. I would rather do a few projects extremely well than many half-assed. I parked in the alley, put up with the truckloads of dust and dirt, filthy vehicles, semi-mail delivery, and navigating through the Grand Canyon, and I am willing to put up with the inconvenience, but we were better off with the old road, as we have a bigger mess now than a couple of months ago. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Richard Seymour. I live at 1090 Murray Street. I've lived there for over 25 years. And this whole situation to me has been a travesty from day one. I noticed right from the start that the people who were doing the project were not competent enough to do it. They didn't understand what they were doing, and all it's done was got worse and worse. Now what I look at now, I don't understand it. I have some experience in construction. I was an officer in the Army. I was an executive officer of a heavy combat engineer company. We did roads, runways, and pipeline construction. Never in my life would I approach this project the way it's been done. And what really irks me, the one thing that really bothers me, is the lack of communication. Nobody was told on Murray Street, you know, they sent us that initial letter they were gonna be done in a couple of months, and that was it. 2 months went by where there was no progress on that project, none. And I watch, you know, I'm retired. I worked at the mine for 21 years. That's my home where I live. I'm retired, and I watch what went on, and it was just a joke. And the lack of communication from the city was terrible. You know, we didn't get anything in the mail. Nobody told us anything, what was going on. Then we get another letter from JCR saying that oh, we're gonna be done by the end of October. Well, I knew that wasn't gonna happen. You could tell by looking out my front window. And now we've got a situation, I have seen water coming down Murray Street where it's literally a river coming down Murray Street. They've undercut all the sidewalks. If it washes under my sidewalk, the retaining wall in the front of my house is gonna start to fail. So, I don't know, but I just discussed it with the whole thing, and the powers that be, to me, should be ashamed of themselves. From JCR right on up, the whole thing has been a boondoggle. I don't know what else to say.
Thank you. Sharon?
Yeah, I've got the same complaints as everybody else. I've lived up there for better than 50 years. Right now,
Let me, one more thing.
Yeah.
if I have a wreck,
You have to state your name too.
Sharon Sager,
I knew that, but
1025 Murray Street, Ely, Nevada. Same address for 50 years. Okay, I have got a stand like this to cross, them guys dug down that far. I have to lift my legs and crawl over a piece of dirt that high to get to my sidewalk. After I get to my sidewalk, then I gotta hope to heck that I don't slip in the mud and fall getting to my stairs. I can't park my car. I'm having to park my car clear around the corner there because they have their equipment parked there. I can't even park close to my house and I have to walk. I can't keep doing it. And you guys have let us go all summer. We went all summer up there and never complained about the dirt. And I mean, we had like black sand that was blowing in from McGill, if any of you can remember it. That's what we had blowing in our windows and our doors all summer long. And Melody's right, we never got any water put on that until this fall. After it cooled down and the dust wasn't blowing, then we started getting water. I thought the guys done a pretty good job up there trying to do what they could. But they got no help, and we put up with it, and we're still putting it up with it. Now here it is, it's the end of October, we've got snow up there, we're gonna have ice. How are you guys gonna get in there to plow the snow? The garbage guys have not picked up our garbage up there. Am I right, guys, for probably 3 weeks or better? Because they can't get in to pick up the garbage. They tell us to take it to the corners and they'll try to pick it up. Which corner? I mean, I've got 2 corners. Do I take it to one if they don't pick it up? Do I take it, run that down and drag it up to the other? The mail, post office will not deliver our mail. We have not, didn't receive a notice from the garbage guys. We didn't receive a notice from the post office. We can't even get our, we have to go up to the post office and pick up our mail. And have, they won't even deliver it. They won't, and they never sent us a notice. And they're not nice when we go up there. They're acting like it's our fault that they're not delivering the mail. What are we supposed to do? What are you guys gonna do for us up there? We're paying the taxes, we're paying our water bills, our garbage bills, and we're not getting nothing. And if I have to keep falling, if I fall up there and break a leg, somebody's gonna have to come up like Melody said. You're gonna have to, and we have a lot of other people up there. Go up, have any of you gone up and looked at Murray Street in the 1025 block? Have you seen it, what it's like across the street where Gene Oley's lived? They've got a stretch of sidewalk like that. And then they've got a great big hole that somebody can walk down and fall. And nobody cared, and nobody has still cared. If one of us falls and gets hurt, who's liable up there? Us or you guys? Because that's what's gonna happen. The dogs and cats won't even run up and down the street up there anymore. They're even scared of the mess. So yeah, I'd like to see something done, because I'm starting to get a little bit nervous with winter coming on. I can't get in and out. And I don't know who's gonna have the answer for me. So that's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Kyle Horvath, 843 Murray Street, or what I would call ground zero to this entire crap show. The first hole was dug right in front of my house. It was filled. The second hole was dug right in the same spot. It was filled. I was excited to see this project done, you know, but you took a halfway functioning road and turned it into an absolute mud pit. First couple months, you know, it's like the inconvenience is fine, you're gonna tolerate it, but when everybody's talking about things disappearing for like 2 weeks and nobody doing anything and nothing happening, people got frustrated, and what really frustrated me is that I understand construction runs into hiccups, and I understand when you dig into the ground you find things that you didn't expect. But what I don't like is when a citizen who's being inconvenienced goes to talk to that company and asks, well, what's the holdup? What's the problem here? Okay. Well, the answer was the problem is the city of Ely and Great Basin Engineering. Exactly what came out of their mouths. Okay, it's not our fault. We're not to blame here. Okay, well, I've had a lay down yard in front of my house. I've actually hit my truck on equipment that I could not navigate out of my driveway to even get out. I've got a daughter that I take to school. I'm a coach. I have equipment. I've got dogs. I go grocery shopping. The current state of my life right now is coming home multiple times a day like Janet does, and walking a block and a half over slippery tarp that's covering mud, that has ice on it now, that has exposed rebar with no caps on it, that has an open water, city water line that didn't have a cap on it this morning. And my other option is navigating 6 inches of mud and then climbing a 3-foot vertical wall to get to my house. Okay? I'm probably one of the most fit people on the block. Okay? You see all these other citizens though, you guys have got a major, major problem on your hand in regards to workplace safety, citizen safety, all of that stuff, and all I'm getting out of JCR is excuses, you know, and that's inappropriate for a professional company who's been hired to do something, to leave an absolute mud pit and then just to blame everybody else for why it looks like that. And you guys need to know that part, okay, is they're throwing you under the bus for why they can't do it, not their inadequacies, somebody else's inadequacies, all right, and that's just not professional. So I know that when I BS on a project and I get down to the last second and I get put under the gun to try to put out a product, it usually turns out to be a pretty crappy product because I'm rushing. And that's what I'm afraid is gonna happen is we're gonna put the hammer down on these guys, they're gonna start covering stuff up and throwing stuff up and doing this whole big rush, and then we're gonna have to tear it all apart next year because they're gonna screw it up because they spent 4 months creating a shit show.
Thank you. Anybody else? Gentleman in the back?
I don't know if you guys want these. I've heard about last night. Name's Sean Donahue. I lived at 809 Murray Street for about 11 years now, which is the very bottom part, what they're working on Murray Street. I'm the very bottom resident. Like what Lisa helped explain. My thing starts yesterday. My water line to my house is so close to the surface, it's actually, right now it's exposed, it's covered by a little mound of dirt, which means now that we're gonna freeze. My water line going to my house is freezing. But if you look at some of the pictures, you can see the outer retainer wall where the curb's gonna start coming up. My water line actually comes out directly under that. So they've had to dig down to get to where they could lay a base, because unlike other people, I've not had any issues talking to them. I went out and talked to Casey several times, but the water line, and because of how they've had to dig, has caused my water line to be right at the surface, which is, when it snows, there's no drainage there. If you look at one of the pictures, I literally have, which is the makings of Cave Lake right next to my house. And yesterday when the water line broke, you can see all the water that's collecting there. There's no drainage. There's pavement, dirt, and when it starts snowing, I see it every year with the snow removal, which will not happen this year because there's so much dirt. That's gonna turn into a lake. And to go the other part, what one of the other gentlemen mentioned, my retaining wall has been exposed all the way down. So it's not meant to be that way. It had dirt and things up against it before. So if it starts freezing, you can actually see like my step coming off my sidewalk is actually starting to droop. There's already cracks in my wall, no big deal, but I'm worried about the cracks starting to sink. You can already see a couple of them starting to separate more. Just the length of time it's been sitting. Where my RV sits, I bought an RV to go on vacation. Well, it's sitting, it's got about a 3-foot drop if I try to back out of the little driveway it is. There's no way to get it out until this project is completely completed. So I have a very expensive toy sitting in my yard that I can't move. I can't go on vacation. I can't use it for what it's for. Haven't gotten, took notes. I haven't got deliveries, and I don't know how long, from FedEx, UPS, or whoever. Nobody would come, because literally to step up to get on the sidewalk, I just locked the gate, is higher than this. So that creates a problem. No drainage. I don't see any snow removal happening. Everybody has to park down where I'm at around. So the snow removal there is not gonna happen because you're gonna have, right now we got a big roller there, but we have, between my neighbor and everybody else parking there, there's no way they're gonna be able to remove snow without plowing people in. The undercutting of my wall, because like I said, they actually dug down my wall, the concrete part's 18 inches, about 18 inches long, deep. It's got the fence post through it, and then underneath is dirt, and that dirt started to separate. I can see it in my yard. I looked yesterday, and where my grass and the wall on the inside of my fence, the wall's starting to pull slightly out. It's very minute now, but when it freezes, it's gonna be bad. The water part, I explained, my water line's exposed. It actually got broke twice by the excavator when they were done. And I know accidents happen, but the one part that I had a problem with is we all have water heaters that have elements in it, we all do stuff. Well, I didn't get even told my water line was broken until I looked out my window. So it'd have been nice, that kind of communication would be nice. No deliveries, I see everybody walking up the street, and as everybody's mentioned, I mean, I'm pretty fit, been in the Marine Corps a long time, I was in the Marine Corps a long time, but I see everybody else at the park and walk, and nothing's even, the sidewalks are all jacked up, and some sidewalks, and then it stops, and then there's no sidewalk, and then it goes. So that's a big one. Safety, drainage, there is no drainage. That's not, I don't know how they would even fix that unless they fix the road. Because everything comes down to my area, and the hole right now is on my side of the road, and it goes around onto the First Avenue, and it's probably almost 3 feet deep right now. And then it's got pavement on top of it, and all the fill underneath.
Yeah, 3 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Come back up.
One question for you guys, and maybe you know what you're gonna do about it. Halloween's coming up next weekend. You go up on Murray Street and see if you want any kid or adult walking that street for trick or treating. We have no way, nothing blocking it, nothing stopping it, and somebody's gonna get hurt that. All we're asking is you guys go up and take a look at that. Can you do something about that road for at least for Halloween? To stop the kids and the adults from walking it or even driving it? I mean, it's a mess, it's dangerous.
Thank you. Anybody?
Morning. Terry Borbaugh, 994 Murray. I'm sure you guys have not seen this kind of action at a road commission meeting in a long time. I just want to reinforce everything everybody's saying. Our road is a frickin' nightmare. I am one of the lucky few. I can park on the side of my house, and the guys were nice enough to build me a small ramp, but I don't have the 3-foot drop that Kyle has. I mean, if I had to haul groceries in and out of his house for my family of 5, oh my God, there is no way. You're lucky you only have one. I have 2 teenagers that eat me out of house and home, and I'm at release 3 times a week. If I had to do that, I would be pissed. It's bad enough what we've got. Like I said, I'm one of the lucky ones that I'm on an alley, so I can kind of pull straight across if I need to. But everybody else, Melody that's lived there forever, my parents live 6 houses up. Unfortunately, they are not here this week, or they would be here as well. Their house is a mess. Please do something. You cannot live like this all winter. It's ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Is this where the contractor would speak, or is there another point for that?
We have the judge. George?
All right, we'll get to the next item then.
Hold it.
Discussion about George?
She's gonna do public comment, she
Wayne,
can do it
is this where the
now.
contractor speaks, or is there another section to that?
Come on up here.
Well, just basically do whatever you do.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking here in a minute. The next item
Okay.
is what we're chatting about.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I've got a concern on the Great Basin project. The utility box was put on the corner of my property, 7 inches, 6 to 7 inches higher than the new curb and gutter. When I complained about it, they said, don't worry, it'll be taken care of. When they went in and paved it, they did take care of it. Unfortunately, they poured another layer of curb. I'm looking at a drop on the end of that corner of 11 to 12 inches. That's not gonna cut it. The small vehicle will get high centered, the big one is gonna get their teeth rattled. I complained to the state engineer, Regina. I wrote a letter to her dated September 13th, 2021, outlined several issues, asked for response in writing. I'm still waiting. That's not gonna cut it. Under the MDOT, Chapter 2 Administration Regulations, Access Beginning 2.6, all abutting property owners and record public shall be notified by the department, so on and so forth. I was never notified they were gonna do that. On that piece of property and across the street, 729 and 733 Great Basin next to Washington Federal, they took out my access, then they said it was illegal, then they charged me $500. Then the contractor wanted $1,700 to take out the new curb, gutter, and sidewalk. When I tried to put a stop to it, went to the engineering people, didn't do nothing. All I heard was, "Don't worry, George." I started in May, because if anything's gonna go wrong, it's gonna go wrong with me for whatever reason. Now, under the administration code, 2.7, dealing with the ADA, that's not gonna cut it. The person steps off that corner thinking they're gonna go down 6 inches and they're gonna drop a foot. That's not ADA compliant. And I asked the state, I asked the building inspector, I've asked the city council to walk that project. No ADA, full ADA compliance up and down that street. Brand new project, federal regulations, not mine, not yours. We need to address that. And that's not the only concern I've got. Along Great Basin on Avenue L, they just bulbed out. You can't do that. There was no request before the city council to bulb out. They put a light pole right in the middle of the sidewalk. On the other one here, going up to a state office. All of this was supposed to be taken care of because it's a new project. Didn't happen. Pretty doggone sloppy. We're all paying for nothing. Another concern was on Avenue M. Again, they bulbed out. We were gonna rectify all these safety hazards along that highway. Did not happen. If anything, they made it worse. When Veterans Boulevard was put in, I put in a complaint in regards to the road going to the new swimming pool, talked to a gentleman by this, from the state, Peter Shaw, 88. You know what he told me? Find a person with a wheelchair and sue. I go to these meetings to prevent stuff like this. Any public official that says hire an attorney and sue and go find somebody in a wheelchair needs to be fired. That's it for now. I'll be back after these folks finish. Thank you.
Okay, item number 3, discussion possible action. Casey?
Yes, sir.
Come up. I think we're all waiting to hear what your plans are.
Okay,
Get this completed by October 29th.
so I guess some of the people don't know, and Terry probably has the
Wait
information.
a minute, I'm sorry, did you say have this completed by October 29th?
That's the
You know,
deadline.
you do realize that's 10 days from now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we did.
That's a contract, so.
I'm sorry, I thought I misheard.
So anyways, not throwing the city or Basin Engineering or nobody under the bus, but the mud pits and the undercut sidewalks, I think BJ can attest, being the city engineer, we were supposed to pull 30 inches out of the whole roadway.
So he's the city engineer? Did you even go look at the project? For the 2 months that it sat there and nothing happened?
Excuse me.
Well, I just wanna,
wait a
I
minute.
just wanna speak to the people that
You
are
have to
supposed to
wait
be
a
in
minute,
charge of this.
Wait a minute, let's get the meeting under control. You had public comment, so Casey's given his presentation. We can't have disruption like that. Let the man speak, we'll have public comment at the end of the meeting. But during the meeting, there is no input from the outside. We're just trying to run a common meeting and be professional about this. Let him speak. At the end of the meeting, there'll be public comment for all of you to say whatever you'd like to say. But for right now, we're on item 3, so Mr. Jones is speaking and no one else is going to interrupt. Public comment is at the end of the meeting.
So anyways, to everybody that's on Murray Street, I apologize because I don't think, one of the things that everybody knew is this was 2 projects. So there was a couple months break in between bids of the other project to where that's why there was no water truck or whatever, because we did not have a contract at the second contract yet. So when we got the second contract is when the water trucks started being provided again, because there was a space in there where there was no contract. One job was the sewer line, one job was the over X and the pavement. So why the sidewalks, curb and gutter are the way they are was by the engineer prints. They left some of the sidewalk in and that. We're going around the sidewalk.